Frank Chambers, how are you?
How are you, Ali? How are you, Dr. White?
What have we got here?
This is an old house which was built before the 17th century. This is the house that Matthias de Bille, he was the captain of the frigate, the Bornholm. This is where he died, and this is where he was nursed before he died.
What was he doing here?
He came
in Ireland.
He came with the crew of 240 men in 1720, around 1720. They were on an expedition to the West Indies, and they were blown through the North Atlantic, and they landed on Ireland. They had 4 weeks of tumultuous weather, shipwrecked and blown in at Clare Island in round the period of 1720.
1720. Over 300 years ago.
Over 300 years ago.
So he died here, did he?
He died here, and the rest of the crew were nursed over at Melcombe Pier, over the buildings there. O'Donnell, the landlord in Newport House, the O'Donnells, they looked after de Bille's affairs, and they looked after the ship, the Bornholm, and he came up to Newport. Newport was only after being built that time by Pratt, the town itself. It was the new port that was built upstream, and O'Donnell took care of de Bille and his crew.
And did many of the crew survive?
Something in the region of around 50% of the crew survived the terrible storms and the sickness and scurvy that the crew suffered from. The Danish government then in return visited here. De Bille was an emissary in the house of King James in Denmark, and his family visited here some 40-50 years after that period and visited Newport, and the government gave the money to build that 3-storey house on the main street, which is our residence presently, and that's how that building was built at the time.
Do you know what year this building was built?
Something in the order of around the 18 something.
18 something.
This plaque was erected roughly 10 years ago by the late Gerald Duffy and the Historical Society from Westport, along with the ambassador Hobson, who I understand is deceased, and it was in relation to the history here of the Danish government and de Bille, Matthias de Bille, and his expeditions here to the west of Ireland, and the fact that he died here at the back, and this building was built by monies from the Danish government in return for the hospitality that was extended by the O'Donnells of Newport House and the people of Newport to the crew. This plaque was erected roughly 10 years ago by the late Gerald Duffy and the Historical Society from Westport, along with the ambassador Hobson, who I understand is deceased, and it was in relation to the history here of the Danish government and de Bille, Matthias de Bille, and his expeditions here to the west of Ireland, and the fact that he died here at the back, and this building was built by monies from the Danish government in return for the hospitality that was extended by the O'Donnells of Newport House and the people of Newport to the crew.